Check it. Before the record, we break it down. Business podcast, we run this town. From entrepreneurs to investors, we in this.
Welcome back to another episode of For the Record. I'm Dwayne, and today I'm in the hot seat by myself. My lovely wife is actually producing this episode, but I'm bringing you a powerful episode. I met a young man by the name of Darnell Jett, and he owns Jett Wash Services. And when I tell you he got a powerful story that you gotta hear, I'm telling you, you're gonna be inspired. So thank you for joining me, Darnell Jett, who owns Jett Wash Services.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from? Just tell us about yourself.
Well, originally I'm from Detroit, Michigan, the beautiful, beautiful, spirited city of Detroit, Michigan. I grew up on the west side, PA, Pearson Avenue, and just over the course of the years, my journey has just sent me in so many different directions, but ultimately it kind of carved out a purpose for me. Like all my struggles coming up in Detroit. I didn't have much of a start that was any different than anybody else. My city was just ran rapid with pretty much anything that you can go in the wrong direction of. But through the process of it, I figured out how to dig myself out of certain holes. And what I wanted to do was create an opportunity to give a platform for other black men to dig themselves out of a hole, because unless you actually went through the experience of putting your hands in the dirt and pulling yourself to the top, like it's nobody but one of us can give that advice to one of us. Coming up, I did over 11 years in prison in Michigan. So I experienced that system, what that system was like, and what that system blended with, like, in terms of what it blended like with my upbringing, and ultimately how those things play a hand in helping each other. Like, Detroit is a very cultured place in most cases. Like, and by it going through what it's recently went through, I don't know if most people know, Detroit was gentrified on a level that most people don't even comprehend. So it's like, what I wanted to do and focus on in terms of helping individuals is giving you some realistic direction that's not coming from individuals that's not been where you from. Like, the whole time I was incarcerated, my whole thing was building me. And most men don't have that opportunity. They don't have that wherewithal within to be in that type of environment and say, you know what, I'm going to build myself to be something. So when I leave here, I can have something, because this can't be the totality of everything that I'm worth, that my potential has. So in the process of going through that, I've actually made it out. And I had examples. I had people in my life, like I was mentioning, my Uncle Mark. Right. I had him to show me, like, that something was possible. Because at the time when I was going through the system, nobody ever went home on their first chance. Like, nobody ever went home on the first opportunity to get parole. Michigan had a situation going on to where it was like everybody was guaranteed at least 2 to 3 flops, meaning when you ran into your earliest release date, they were letting you go. It was backpedaling you another 15 months, backpedaling you another 2 years, and that tears a man up on the inside. And ultimately, you end up in a situation to where you have nobody to really pay attention to as a focus point to go up. And a lot of people always focus on the recidivism rate and what's happening throughout the country with young black men going back. And one thing I took from my Uncle Mark, he never went back. Okay. And that was powerful for me, because if I'm here and I want to get out of here and I want to stay out of here, who realistically do I have to trust? And he was that guiding factor for me. And it kind of choked me up a little bit, because
that's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right. Because you told me about your Uncle Mark the other day. We spoke on the phone, how you were 2 years old when he went. And when he was coming out, it was your turn now to face what he went through. So he gave you that support because he was there before you were. And I never been, but all I can imagine how lonely it can be, there, how depressing it can be. But you, my friend, made it through. So, and you also told me that you accomplished some big things while you were there.
Yeah, while I was there, I was focusing on, like I said, growing me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to become a stagnated individual to where it's like all I know is the streets. All I know is negativity. All I can give you is the pain from what they put me through. And it's like, nah, it got to be something different. Like I have never been anywhere where I seen more intelligent individuals across the board. I'm talking about the intelligent level in prison is on a whole nother wavelength. The ability for a person to make do is on a whole nother wavelength. So with that being said, if I could figure out all these little tiny intricate things on how to make my day a little bit smoother, how to eat, how to fix this, how to go about living in this situation, I can come up with something that's going to allow me not to be in this situation.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's powerful what you just said, because you're absolutely right. Those are some of the most brilliant minds.
Yes.
I mean, they made some mistakes, of course, but I've seen like little documentaries of how creative you can be in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just to make that time go by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wrote a lot. I did a lot of writing. I did a lot of book writing. I did a lot of poetry writing.
Okay.
And I didn't want to just sit on anything. So my hobbies in the joint was like, if I write this, who can I send it to? How can I sneak this out of the penal system and get it in the hands of somebody else? And I got amazing friends. Most of my friends that's still my day ones is my childhood friends. And that's because, like I said, Detroit is a culture. It's a tight-knit environment. Everybody from my neighborhood is a family member.
Okay.
And it's like, it's very rare that you find places that move like that. Like I literally can go within a mile radius and I can actually say, I've been in everybody's house on this block. This person knows my family. Y'all know this person's family. This is how, we met. We grew up. They put us in the tub together. We childhood friends. So Detroit is a very close-knit environment. And it just been through a lot. So in the process of me coming home, I think one of the hardest things I've ever had to actually deal with was coming home from prison. And that's what really made me want to step into like the mentor role, to actually help an individual work this balance out, because nobody, like they will jam you in prison. We know this. Right. They will tell you what you have to do when you get out of prison. You got to have a job. You got to stay away from this. You got to stay away from that. But nobody prepares you for the mental and spiritual aspects that's waiting for you on the outside. Like I spent a lot of time really pushing stuff down so I can maintain a focus, because in prison, you're in a place where you can't afford to make a mistake. When can I afford to make a mistake? My every mistake has my freedom and my life in the back. Right. Nobody teaches you about this. Nobody tells you about the stress level that comes with it. So one of the biggest things that I had to deal with is when I came home, out of 11 and a half years, I saw my mama twice.
Wow. That's when you saying you saw her twice. She visited, or
through the course of my bit, like I seen my mom twice.
Okay. Wow.
So when I came home to sit with my mom, to look at her, to see her hands, to see her hair, her face, how she aged.
Yeah, man.
Who prepares you for that?
Exactly. No one, and that, like I said, you have to stay grounded, and also have to look at where you came from, and where you're trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing that you have to keep that motivation. Because no one in there is motivating you to do anything right. Nobody. You know, it may be some cellmates or some people that want you to do right, but sometimes you're in an environment that is rough. Like you said, you got to watch your life. You got to watch out, people trying to get you for whatever reason, and it'll cost you your freedom or your life. So,
and one of the most overlooked things about prison is the people who have the opportunity are the people who seemingly don't want the opportunity, right? Because I remember like coming through, like as you work your way through your years, they do what they call preparing you to go home. And all the employment readiness and everything, but you don't run into any of that till like the last year and a half of your bit. So if I did over 11 years and you waited to 9.5 years to help give me some of the tools that you feel that I may need on a house, then how am I going to work things into my character? How am I going to work things into my habits and things of that nature?
Right.
On top of the fact, technology is doubling every 2 years. So I've been in for 11 years. So I'm 22.5 years behind.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
It's just within technology. One of the hardest things for me to ever do when I came home was work the internet. Because who's grooming me for that?
True.
I mean, and like I was saying earlier, like black men, we have an innate entrepreneurial spirit. We always want to work for ourselves.
Right.
When have you ever seen any young black man that wasn't already attempting to make his own money?
Exactly.
We come with that spirit, but nobody teaches us the principles and the education and the knowledge that's going to allow you to apply that and make that manifest that into your life on a reality level. Like,
right.
And very few will actually give you that. So when I came home, I was like, all right, I mean, because they always run it down your throat. It's like, hey, it's 1,000 jobs out here. They're hiring felons. They're hiring felons everywhere. Yeah. But if we live in a society that needs 2 incomes to survive, like my wife works in corporate America. She makes good money, right? But when I'm skilled, I have trades, I have a degree, so I don't have a problem finding a job, but will this job float my life?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
What am I doing to my children when they see me go work for 11 hours, 12 hours on a shift, and I get basically nothing? I get something just to cover 1 or 2 bills. And I'm saying no after that to everything else. I mean, why should I let you cap out my time? And that's why entrepreneurship was the best route for me. And I think any man coming from prison, any woman coming from prison, because the very first thing that you have when you come home is your ambition.
Okay.
Your ambition is this high. Why shouldn't it be? You've been away.
Right.
You've been tucked away. All you can do is dream. All you can do is dream. All you can do is plan. So if that's all I can do, my ambition is the best thing I got for me. So when I came home, I knew it wouldn't make no sense to work for anybody. Because if I have to go work for somebody, like I own my own company, we know this. So when I go approach my clients, I'm not telling them my background.
Okay.
I'm telling them my experience when it comes to getting the job done for which I'm here for. And I'm going to do that to the best of my ability because I want to satisfy you.
Exactly.
Because I want my business to grow. They're not asking me about something I did in 2007. They're not asking me about the process I had to go through in order to get off parole. They don't care about my recidivism rate. But when I go check in and punch a clock for somebody, they want to know every dirty thing I've ever done in my life. And they're watching me to make sure that I ain't doing it again.
And already judging.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You've already judged me.
Already.
So if you've already put all that on me, why should I let you cap my money out too? So it makes sense. Like, why would I go work for $25 an hour? When I first came home, I had a place, I don't know if I could say their name, and People Ready was a temp service down there.
Yeah.
And the lady called me and she offered me a job for $11.50. $11.50.
And this was 2019, 2020?
No, yeah, this is 2019.
Okay.
So, she offered me a job for $11.50. Forklift work, welding. I had some welding experience. So I'm a certified welder, but you want me to come in here and work for that? Wow. So I went and worked for that. And every other week, this lady was threatening me about this and that and this and that and third. Now, I say that to say, like, when I go to my BNI meetings now, I go do our 1 million cup meetings for with the SBA and everything else like that.
Right.
I look to my left and I see the exact same People Ready building. The exact same one. The exact same one I was walking to when I first moved down here, begging these people to hire me. Now I'm stepping out of SBA Center, owning my own truck, owning my own business that's profitable.
Yeah.
And I can look that way. And just from that, I can see how far I've came.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen how far I've came off that. And that's before I even had children.
That's the journey, man. That's the journey coming from being away that long. 11 and a half years, you say you did. You took advantage of the time that you had there. You say you went to school while you were in prison?
Yeah, I actually earned a degree. It was me and a few other guys that actually came home around the same time I did, around 2019. We entered a pilot program with Jackson College out of Michigan. And they actually came in and did the pilot program with us. and allowed us to earn our degree.
What is your degree in?
In business.
Business, okay.
Yeah. So I was like, it makes no sense to get a degree in business, then I go work for somebody.
Exactly.
Like, and I had some of the best professors, and in the process of the pilot program, it showed me where I stood in society. Mm-hmm. Because in the process of that little small program, which was 2 years, mind you, if you catch any ticket, most prisons in Michigan is what they consider a ticket trap. Like it's impossible to sit on this compound and go 6 months ticket free. You don't get really opened up to anything.
When you say ticket free, what is ticket?
Well, a ticket is like a disciplinary action being taken upon you. Like, for example, I wasn't where I was supposed to be today, so they wrote me a ticket. So I may have to stay in my room for 3 days without my TV or anything else. You take my stuff, and it has a progression. And what they want to do is they really want to get you to where you're doing 3 months sanction, where you have nothing for 3 months. Because, and that's why I said it showed me where I was into society, because the more professors that actually came up to study with us to fulfill our college needs and stuff like that, the more we saw that the COs was writing tickets for anything. And because if you catch any ticket, they take your Pell Grant, right? They own your Pell Grant now, and you're out of the program. You can never get back in the program. So all that goes to the state. So officers, I would like to believe, was incentivized in a lot of cases to make sure that certain guys stay out of the program.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter how many people, they take 1 million people into the program, they're going to keep taking our money. But if they keep kicking us out, you can keep rolling everybody else in, and you take their money.
Got it.
So it's like, I'm trying to get my degree. And like, I think I had 2 weeks, I was 2 weeks shy of being able to earn my degree within the time frame of my release. So what I did was I went and talked to my professor. Shout out to Mr. Roberts from Jackson College.
Okay. Mr. Roberts.
Community College. Mr. Roberts was my dude.
Yeah.
Like he kept it real with me. He said, man, look, I'll give you that 2 weeks of work up front. And he gave it to me up front.
Some people in your corner, man, they look out. You know what I'm saying? They see something in you. No matter where you are, they're gonna look out.
Yes.
And it sounds like that's what happened.
He looked out for me, man.
Yeah. And you know, being in that environment, it's rare to find somebody that will actually have your back. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you are so down. You could be so down. Sometimes you're like, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. 11 years is a long time. You came out 2019, right? When you got out, you're still in Detroit. You're still in Michigan, right? How long before you moved from Michigan to Florida?
4 months.
Wow, less like that?
Less than 4 months. Because when I came home, one thing I was paying close attention to is how the world was moving.
Okay.
Because it shines bright. And I think one of the things that really pushed me to Florida was, other than my wife, of course, was the conditions of my city.
Okay.
Like, my middle school sits on the exact same block I grew up on, the same school I met my wife at.
Okay.
So that school has been vacant since before I was incarcerated.
So you say it's on the same block. You
block.
met your wife at this school, right?
At this school.
You say you've known her since what?
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade. So we see how long it's been there. And finish the story.
And like that school, they closed that school, I think, around 2005. I went to prison in 2008. I came home 2019. It's still a vacant building on the block right now. Wow. And then when I walk my neighbor, you gotta think I'm coming home 11 years later, man. This is 11 years later. When I walk my neighborhood for the first time, I cried, and that's.
It's all right, brother. It's all right. You need that. You know, again, people need to hear this, because all of us are in situations sometimes we don't see no way out. You know, it could be some trouble in your family, health issues, or somebody else is incarcerated, man or woman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if they see this podcast, they're going to see Darnell made it through.
See,
you know what I'm saying? Darnell has overcame those obstacles. You know what I'm saying? Transitioning from 11-year bid to owning his own business. Yeah. So, hey, you have every right to be emotional.
my city was so broken when I came home. My neighborhood was gone. It was gone. Like, all my friends' houses I grew up in was either burnt down, tore down. Like, the city was so bare. It, like, on my mom's block, you could literally lay down in the street, close your eyes, probably take a nap. Gets no traffic through here.
What?
Gets no traffic through here. Like the city had become almost like a walk on for like The Walking Dead or something.
Right.
Like a set for them or something. I sat out my mom's house just to look at the stars. Because it's been so long since I've been there. I just sat out one night and I've watched like 40 raccoons just walk across the field. And it's like, but that shows you that nobody's here anymore. What I remember of this place is gone. Like, the natural charisma of my city is gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? And one of the things that kind of pushed me to Florida was like, it's no sense of being here crying about what's here when I can go build somewhere else.
Okay.
Because it's not that I don't love my city. I didn't want to be in it. It's not a good place for me to be under the situation I'm in.
Gotcha.
Michigan don't like letting guys off parole. And most people say like, the recidivism rate won't go down, or we're trying to get it down. We're trying to get it down. You know, we need to focus on the individuals who's going back. And are like, nope, I've never seen the state of Michigan really worry about if they were becoming the problem that was increasing the rate of guys going back.
Right.
And you are a part of that problem. Because, for one, educating guys so late in the bid is a horrible thing.
Right.
That, like, if I teach my son how to read, if I teach Guantanamo how to read 15 minutes, if I teach him how to read 15 minutes before I send him to a school,
right,
what is he expected to do?
That's set up for failure.
That's a setup for failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all the emotional, I couldn't get over the way I felt emotionally, spiritually, as a person when I came home. Why? Because everybody was like, are you going to go get a job? Yes. Are you going to stop doing crime? Yes. Are you going to help take care of your... Yes, I'm going to do all these different things, but nobody prepared me for the fact that when I get here, my heart is going to break, because I've been burying so many, one of the hardest things I felt like this was my major test right before I came home. I got my parole early 2018. Michigan make you walk every bit of 7 to 8 months. But between the time they grant you the parole and the time you actually return to the streets, it's a 7 to 8 month time gap on that.
Wow. That's
and I can't catch a ticket within 7 to 8 months, or they take my parole. Well, in the process of my last 4 months of getting ready to come home, having my parole, my father fell ill. And I've had more conversation with you than I had with my father.
Wow.
But that's not to say I didn't take something from his life.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big benefit he's a big benefactor in me having a tough skin, being able to push through certain things in life, because he kind of gave me that in his own way. But right before I got a chance to come home, my father passed away. And this shows you how disconnected we can become as a family sometimes, right? My mom and my dad grew up in rival neighborhoods, but no more than a half a block away from each other.
That close.
Right? They were that close to each other, right? And my family structure is so disconnected that they buried my dad on my birthday.
Wow.
And
man,
yeah, they buried my dad on my birthday. And I'm not saying that was a shot to anybody or from anybody or anything like that, because people do what they can with what they have. And unless you somebody that's actually made preparation for this to happen to you, then you leave people with what you leave them with. But to deal with that on my birthday,
right? And you weren't in attendance? Were you able to go?
No, I wasn't able to go. And me and my dad's birthday is actually like 2 to 3 days apart. Everybody's birthday is in July in my family. my grandfather's at the top. My uncle's on the 2nd. My anniversary's on the 5th. My birthday's on the 9th. My dad's was on the 6th. So like we just fill July up. So that's a real important time of the year for me. And so when he died on my birthday, now I'm always thinking about my dad now. And
every birthday,
I'm always thinking about him.
Man. So 4 months after you got out, you moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Are you on parole at that time?
Yeah.
Or you are? And so they allow you to go to another state?
Yep.
Okay.
I got what they call the interstate compact, which if anybody out there listening, if you are stuck in a state anywhere and you don't want to be there, interstate compact is a very useful tool for guys to get in an environment that's more conducive to what they're trying to do, because like I love Detroit. Like it just wasn't, I didn't have the full support system I needed there to push through what I needed to be able to push through. And I know for a fact, the way they govern paroles in Michigan, I would have never made it off. I would have never made it off. They had way too many rules, you know? So being down here in Florida was a little bit more lenient with me. Plus, I don't know anybody down here.
Okay,
so
that's a plus.
So you don't have to worry about who's pulling up at your door that's trying to lead you in a bad way.
Right.
You don't have to fend off so many different negative influences or people that's trying to re-enter your life for the wrong reason. So I didn't have that. All I had down here is what I made with my wife. And
Fresh start.
a fresh start. And if I tell you, like, I'm freezing in here. But if I tell you this, nobody has ever seen what I see in myself like my wife see.
Hey,
Like,
man, that's beautiful.
Like, and it is a beautiful thing when she bullied me. she's bullied me to greatness, right? She's bullied me to greatness.
That's a powerful woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Behind every strong man, you have a powerful woman.
Definitely.
Or even stronger woman.
Yeah.
So, you didn't have any plans? You come to Florida, no plans. You didn't know what you were going to do, or you knew what you was going to do.
Everything I've done so far is what I'm still accomplishing goals that I set out to do a long time ago. Like, it's nothing in my life right now together by happenstance. Everything that I put together because I sat down and was like, hey, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. And on top of that, I know no one really foreseen me being able to do these things. Like, a lot of people was like, oh.
But that's motivation. You know, when people don't think you can do something and you do it, you know, that gives you a battery in your back to get it done.
Yep. And most people, they have an idea of who you are. They have an idea. Like, I had so many COs that just couldn't help themselves. Like couldn't help themselves. Like, man, so what year are you coming back? So what year are you coming back? And I did exactly what I laughed at it.
Yeah.
I took it as a joke too, because if you think I'm coming back, then I guess you have something to laugh at.
Well, that keeps them employed. You think about it, they provoke or wish that people would come back. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but I know you ran into a lot of them that are like that. Yeah.
My biggest goal, like, if I could do anything important with my life to, like, to top off my life, is going back to prison the right way. Because it was a gentleman by the name of Vaughn Mitchell. Shout out to Vaughn. I know you still doing that bit. Vaughn, call me. But like, he was one of the first. Vaughn is actually a year younger than me, right? Okay. I'm 37. I'll be 37 this year. He's a year younger than me. And I met this gentleman when I was. He was the first 5%er I ever met in the penal system, and he had such a appetite for learning. I had never been around another black man that was like, you know what, I'm gonna read. He had a list of 210 books.
Okay.
To read within a year and a half. And the man read 210 books in a year and a half. I watched him. 50 of the books I know for a fact, I watched him order. Every dollar he got, he spent on the book. And he was one of the first people to ever show me to create a desire to learn for yourself. Like some of the stuff that he knew, was able to articulate, some of the words he knew, his vocabulary was amazing just within itself. And he gave me so many tools as a man to help myself grow, because nobody should be totally responsible for your elevation, man. No,
100%.
Like if I come to you and I ask you for help, man, you can hold my hand, bro. You can hold my shoulder. You can push me up the mountain, man, but my legs got to move. My legs got to move. They have to be. You
talking good.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
And this is something that I know. Like, I have no brothers and sisters. Like, I'm the only child. Like, I literally made 2 other men with my last name. Wow. To fill out my family. Like, and those are my sons. So like Like, I understand if your hands are not going to do it, how can you expect it to be done?
Man.
You know, like, how can you really expect it to be done? Like, it's so many different projects I've started and I've got them done just because I took the initiative to say, you know what, I'm going to make this happen.
Right.
And even if I carry this load and I drag it most of the way, somebody going to come help me pick this up. Like, even like with my company logo, my best friend did my logo. And it meant everything to me because he's an Army Ranger right now. He's actually stationed out in Jordan.
Okay.
But Felton did my logo, Felton Mack Jr. And
I was gonna say shout out.
yeah, I shout out everybody. I shout out everybody. I ain't riding by myself totally.
That's it.
But he's always been an amazing friend, and he's one of them supporting figures. Like my Felton's one of the first people, the only people I've known to never have an introduction into the streets, but grew up in the hood. He's the only male I know like that.
Okay.
Shout out to him for that. He's never fell into anything negative. He's always risen above it. And I mean, this has been my childhood friend. It's my friend. I've never had an argument with this man. It's the only male I've never had an argument with. We've never argued about anything, and he pretty much raised me. He's 3 years older than me, and he's pretty much raised me at his house coming up. He made sure I went to school. He made sure I stayed away from certain people until things took their own lane. But just me and him, we always had a strong relationship that remind me if you do the right thing, that it's a reward in it for you.
That's powerful to have a male holding you accountable for something that's close to your age.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Men we can be closed off. You know what I'm saying? We may have friends, people we know we may call friends, but sometimes we are, what do you call it? Like I'm not gonna say shame or not as humble as we can be to take correction from another male, to even ask for help. And it sounds like you and your best friend have this powerful relationship to where he's holding you accountable. You just sat here and said that he kind of helped raise you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a humble thing to say. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
See, and it is a humble thing. I say it with humility, right? But humility is a tool, I believe, that has to be worked and used in a certain light, right? Because if you become too humble, then you'll take anything.
Oh yeah,
right. But I've created a balance in my life because I didn't have brothers and sisters coming up. My family is kind of small. I've shaped this ability to be able to take from people what I can, and chew the meat, spit the balls. You know what I mean? In a lot of cases. And I've watched people, like him, for example, I've watched how he guarded his associations. So he's never had to worry about certain people associating with him or attempting or having the problems I had dealing with people that I was associating with, because it's something that you safeguard, you know? And like, most people in my life, if you're still in my life, it's because like I honor you with my presence, because whether you know it or not, I've taken something from your life and I've used it to better mine.
Boy,
you know, and that doesn't happen much. A set of people I don't speak on often was my godparents.
Yeah,
my godparents, Brian and Kathleen Rice, they gave me every tool in the world to not go to prison. Right. By the time I was 18, I had got into so much stuff, man. It's like I'm telling you. But so by the time I was 18, they sent me to Nantucket, Massachusetts.
Okay, your grandparents did this.
Yeah, my godparents.
I mean, I'm sorry, godparents.
Okay. My godparents, right? So they sent me to Nantucket, Massachusetts. I don't know if anybody in here knows where Nantucket, Massachusetts
sound like a lovely place.
But if you ever go to Boston, you leave Cape Cod. It's 2 islands off of the coast of Boston in New England. Okay. And they're Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Okay. And I lived on Nantucket for almost a year out there, and it was actually following something they was rushing me away from the city for it, because I made 1,000 mistakes, and they was like, you need a fresh start. You need to go somewhere and work yourself out. And they sent me to Nantucket, and the first thing I noticed when I got, because you leave to go over to Nantucket, you leave from Cape Cod, so they put you on a ferry to go over to the island, and while I'm on the boat going over to the island, the first thing you see is the Kennedy compound. So the first person I could think to call was my best friend, Felton. I called Felton like, hey, he's the only person that knows where I'm at. Only person that has my number. The only person other than my godparents that has any contact with me.
Yeah.
And I had to talk to him. I'm like, I'm looking at the Kennedy compound, and it's beautiful. Like I'm seeing whales in the water. I'm taking in all this, but I'm taking all this in because I made a mistake.
Wow. That's the only reason you're saying you're taking this in because of a mistake you made.
Like I made a mistake and it blessed me. So how do I accept this blessing? So the whole time I'm living on Nantucket, my godparents found me a job out there. I'm actually 18 years old making $21 an hour. No GED, no real trades, no real skills or anything like that. And I'm out there every day making good money. The lady I was staying with, she gave me a basement apartment, and I pretty much stayed with her rent free. Long as I was working. And I went out there with a little money that nobody knew about. So it's like I'm leaving there, going to the Cape, back and forth, and I'm seeing all these different beautiful things. I'm sitting on the beach, looking at the water in the middle of the night, sun setting, and it's like I'm a kid from Detroit. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting out here amongst these $1 million houses looking at this view, and I'm out of place.
You said you're out of place, or you felt out of place?
I was out of place. I felt out of place because I was out of place because it was still things going on internally.
I see.
That wasn't worked out. So like you were gonna take with you whatever you have with you wherever you go. You can go to the nicest place in the world.
Yep.
But if you carrying something with you that's not that pretty, then it exposes itself and it won't allow you to enjoy your life. So around like Christmas time that same year, I shot back to Detroit because I needed to see people that was just as confused as I was.
Oh man!
Like, I didn't. Like,
you say you needed to see them.
I needed to see. My fresh wasn't even fresh out there. I went out there. I probably live in a pair of Jordans. Like I probably die in a pair of Jordans. So like I don't brand much on anything else, but that represented my independence. That's the first shoe I ever bought myself. So it's like I'm out there, pea coat, Cartier glasses. You know, Pelly pants. Like I'm out there every bit of like if I was in Detroit, if there's anybody saw me, they'd fall in love with me. You know I'm about something.
Right.
You know, I got a little something. I'm somebody. Out there I was nobody. And people didn't respect my fresh. They didn't care I had a pair of $200 shoes on. They didn't care my glasses upward of $1,000. They were living with a different scope of life. And I was like, well, if that doesn't matter to them and they got money, then I'm lost. I'm thrown. Like
wow.
Like
so you saying like we can focus on the wrong things and thinking that's our fulfillment.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
The labels we wear.
Yeah, the labels you wear. Yeah. And that's why I said every day I walk out the house, I'm branded. I'm branded with myself. I rep my own brand first.
Same here, brother.
I can care less about anybody else's brand really because I know ultimately I have a name I'm building. I have a legacy I'm building. And if I'm not going to focus on my legacy, I'm going to focus on Louis or anybody else's. Then
making them money.
You
know what I'm saying?
Nobody's ever going to know my name.
So you get to Florida, Central Florida. Is it a reason why you chose Central Florida?
My wife was here.
Okay, she was here. Okay.
Yeah. And that was the beauty of the interstate compact for felons because I can legally be wherever my spouse is.
Okay.
And my wife was in beautiful Florida. Okay. And I was like, I'm going to beautiful Florida.
And wow, that's what year was this? 2019, right?
Yes, 2019.
That was five years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Easiest parole I've ever easiest parole. I don't know if I get a lot of credit. People always say like, you know, you walk that down. And I put in the work for it, of course. I put the work in it, but it wasn't as difficult as Michigan would have put me through.
Man, a lot of people got this little slogan for Florida. We'll say, come to Florida on vacation, leave on probation.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's not like that for you. You saying Michigan, they got it in for not just for you.
Well, it's really it's what you hold on to. It's what you know. Like I didn't know Florida, so I didn't know anything negative about Florida. All Florida held for me was potential for me to fulfill my goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was somewhere for me to be somewhere beautiful with my wife. Like if you're here. Like if you go downtown Orlando, the poverty you see down there has Detroit beat in a lot of senses.
That surprised me. We spoke about that the other day, and you said you see Orlando's homeless rate is far more worse.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, Detroit?
I mean, first and foremost, you got to take note that most people are not even in Detroit anymore because the gentrification situation. Our school systems has been hit. Our Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, everything else tore Detroit up to the best of its ability. So we don't have a huge population there, especially when you pair it up with the fact that we get all the seasons. Nobody's, I mean,
Yeah, it's cold up there.
who's trying to sleep on the ground in downtown Detroit? That's a dire situation within itself. But Orlando just showed me that, I mean, ultimately it's a people problem. Like it's a black people problem. It's a poverty problem. You know, so it's just, I mean, everything is everywhere. You can find poverty in Florida. You can find poverty anywhere you go look at. You can always find the negatives if you have an eye for it. But you know, I mean, initially moving down here, my eye was on what can Florida do for me, and what can I do for Florida. I mean, but I mean, yeah, like I have never seen the homeless situation like how it is. Florida, oh my God, Orlando. I stopped down to Orlando. Sometimes I just get out the truck, hand out dollars. It's like because I want to do. I mean, that's not doing much, but you know what I mean. You want to feel connected to these people because if you would have sent me home at a different time, or if I was a native of Florida and I did time here, who knows? I could have been out there on the side of the street.
Exactly.
I've seen guys walk up on me like, bro, I just got out. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And I'll be looking at guys like, bro, you don't even know. I was just where you at. And it's like, don't lose it.
Yeah, man.
Don't lose it. Whatever you got, you holding on to that's pushing you to continuously want to do the right thing. That's why I talk to everybody. Like how we met.
Yeah,
Like
that was rare for me.
We didn't meet just on the hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I put myself out there.
Right.
I didn't know what it was you did. Who knew that would have led to this? But like, I put myself out there with other black men because what a lot of people don't give us credit for is being good brothers.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, they don't give us credit for being good brothers. Like when my sons walk through Walmart or Costco, Sam's Club, anywhere me and my wife frequent, my sons speak to everybody.
Okay.
They speak to everybody. Hi. They wave at you. They give you that love. And I want them to be able to get that love because unless you teach black men how to commune with other black men,
Right.
then you don't see the importance of making a brother. You know what I mean? My child may be friends with your child. That may turn into a lifelong friendship.
Exactly.
I have friends I've had since I was 2, 3 years old. They used to put us in like we literally are known each other too long to ever truly beef out. You know what I mean? Like, because we're really connected at the hip to a certain extent, even if it's just by our history. So I try to imprint that, not just on my children, but on other young black men I meet. When I meet young black, hey man, look, stop walking past every black guy with your face barred.
Right.
Like everybody is not a threat.
Right.
I mean, of course you want to safeguard yourself. I don't second letting anybody just get up on you any type of way. But first and foremost, man, we're not always the problem. Sometimes we are our own solution.
Oh, most definitely. And that day I was going to lunch, riding through the parking lot of that plaza, and I saw you coming out of Publix. I saw you, going to your truck, but I didn't have nowhere to park. But it was divine that I had to park by you. And I got out, but I wasn't paying attention to what you were doing. But then you was like, "Hey, are you on your own business?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh boy, I wonder what this is about." You know what I'm saying? I got to be honest, like, what is about? But
The best thing for you.
the next words out your mouth was, "Are you into networking?" I said, "Oh boy, this the real deal right here." And we talked right in the Publix parking lot, and you inspired me that day from just a little bit of time that we talked. And you told me what you were doing as an entrepreneur and just the time that you had been in prison. And you was like, I'm not going back. This is what I am doing. Jett Wash Services. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about that.
Jett Wash Services is something I created down here because first and foremost, if you go, any school of business you go to, they're going to tell you, first thing you have to do is identify a need. And that's what I wanted to do down here in Florida. I work in a heavily saturated market. Power washing is heavily saturated down here in Florida, but I'm a hustler. So I'm a hustler. So therefore, as long as there's a need for it, I'll figure out how to pull what I need to pull out of it. You know what I mean? But what I wanted to do is I wanted to get something going for myself, something that had a low barrier of entry, something that would forever have a place in the market down here, and something that was easy to teach. Because like, what I do is it's needed, but it's also easy. It's not hard to teach a young black man, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you applicate this. This is what you use. This is what you don't use.
Right.
It's not a big field. It's not a high science field.
Right.
And that's what I felt like I needed, because I didn't need to spend the next 5 years figuring out how to power wash. I needed to spend the next 5 years figuring out how to grow a power washing business.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And ultimately, that's what I had my eye on. I had my eye on just making sure that I could step into a field with a head full of steam and get something going for myself that would justify me having a business degree. But like, I have a business degree, but I go punch the clock every day.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
You told me about that too.
And I hate it. So it's like, why would I put myself there when I have all the tools and know-how to make something happen for myself?
Yeah.
And that's what I want to teach young black men.
So you stop trading your time for that little bit of money.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5 job, right?
Yeah.
But as an employee, no matter how hard you work, you can be the employee of the month. You can work 20 hours out of 24 hours in that day.
Yep.
And you're still gonna make the same amount of money.
You're still gonna make the same amount of money.
You know, they may give you a raise every now and then, but there's a ceiling. At some point,
ceiling.
you're not getting any more raise.
I did what I did with you, with another gentleman, probably a month and a half back, right? And just speaking, being polite, introducing myself, you know what I mean, staying relevant, you know what I mean, to my community, people that's around me. And I walked up on an $8,000 contract.
See what I'm saying?
That's not the kicker. The $8,000 contract kicker was the fact that I did it in 2 days. Wow. But then that's not even the full kicker.
Wait, there's more.
Not even the full kicker. It only took me less than 6 actual hours to complete the work, and 2 of those hours was driving.
Man.
So it's like, I actually had to pack my wife in the truck, had her do the invoices and get them sent over, and, so we have our paperwork squared away. But I had to take my wife with me, put her in the truck, because I wanted to show her, like, babe, like, this is all I'm doing. This is how simple this is, because the real work is on the opposite side of the power washing.
Right.
It's on being able to sell myself, because yes, this is a service, but I am a product. I am a product. Whenever I approach anybody, first and foremost, I'm selling myself. And I'm giving you the best thing that I know how to do. I know how to give people my honesty. I know how to be genuine with individuals, and I know how to run right to the gap of where my knowledge stops and where I need to pull somebody else in.
Okay.
So, like, it worked perfect for me. So, but I had to take her out and show her, like, we are shortchanging ourselves. You know what I mean? We are shortchanging ourselves. We are millionaires. Tangible and intangible. Speak it. We are millionaires.
Yes.
And we're going to make it. And as long as you have, and that's what I really wanted my wife to see, as long as you believing in what I'm doing and you stand behind my agenda, it's nothing I can't really do out here.
Man, you giving me goosebumps right now. I'm telling you.
It's the truth. I mean, we have limited the potential of black men so heavily, and it's a common thing across the board that we get shortchanged, rather if it's in fatherhood, rather if it's on our ability to be mentors or being like suitable members of society. Like, we've been shorted so hard on that, and I be wanting to show people that even if I've been there before, it's still possible for me to do something great, and I still hold something great to be done, and I'm going to do it.
Hey, man.
And I'm going to do it. Like,
that's the mindset you got to have. And that's what I'm saying. You inspired me that day, because I'm not a person that's going to just walk up to a person and just start a conversation. It is very rare that I do that. Very rare. But you said that you did this same thing you did to me. You approached another person, and that got you an $8,000
in 2 days. Over the weekend. Over the weekend. It took them longer to put the invoices together than to send me the actual money.
You see what I'm saying?
And those type of things happen to you when you walk by purpose. Now, I don't say walk by faith. I am not a spiritual person by far. But I am attached to the universal balance of all good things. You know what I mean? I recognize if I do this, like, that's one of the biggest epiphanies I had in my life. It's like I'm sitting in the cell thinking, like, all the worst things I've ever done in my life is in the folder. or online for somebody to look at.
In that little manila folder.
Yeah, mine was a huge manila folder. Mine was like, just in case anybody feel like pulling me up. Like if you pull me up, it's a lot. It normally take a long time for a background check to come back for me, which is why I never go work for nobody else again.
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna wait for a week for everything to come back and then you tell me no. You know what I mean? I can go make $1 trillion between the time you tell me no about if you want me to be on the clock or not.
That's a good reason why, you know what I mean? But
like I never wanted to limit myself, man. Like my passion is attached to giving those young black men that's sitting in the cell somewhere right now. That's like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make. Like I didn't have a clue what I was gonna do to make legitimate money.
And the thing is, you're important to those that are behind those bars to see a success story. Yeah. You know, somebody that's still striving, still trying to figure it out. Because I don't know, when you open Jett Wash Services, did it just take right off?
No. I like, and that's and that's another thing that needs to be highlighted. Like nobody teaches you what mistakes you're gonna make. At all. Like when I first founded my company, like I did everything wrong. Then I had to do it all over, and I had to pay for that mistake. But if I had an individual like myself, the coach myself, then I could be like, hey man, put that LLC, structure that like this.
Right.
And get this line of credit going for the business. Separate your personal expenses from your business expenses.
All things important.
Exactly. Make sure that your passive income is constantly growing. That way you have different eggs in different baskets in case something goes south. You know what I mean? And it was like nobody gave me that. I had to figure that out and make mistakes. Right. And I was making mistakes with $12.50 hourly wage. So it's like, I don't want to keep making these mistakes. So the easiest way to rid yourself from a mistake is to pay certain stuff forward. Right. Okay. So what I was doing a lot of times was, even though I'm moving on my own, I'm still remembering certain things people did for me. Like when I first came home, I had a job at Detroit Manufacturing Systems when I first came home. And there was a gentleman by the name, he's a minister to Cleveland. Cleveland would take me home every day. And it took him about, no exaggeration, took this man probably about every bit of a month to get, like, we hang at work every day, kick it at work every day. I would not let this guy take me home. I was like, man, I don't get in the car with just anybody. I'm paranoid. I'm fresh out of the joint. I don't know what's in your car. You seem cool, but most people that seem cool, people that be with me doing the most garbage, right? So it's like, man, you cool. We click and all, man, but I don't want to tear this relationship up. I don't want to lose my job. I got a lot of stuff to focus on, man. Right. And he was like, bro, I've been in your situation. I've been there. I did the time. I came home. I figured it out for myself. Let me take you home, bro. I got you. You don't owe me nothing. And Cleveland never would accept $1 from you, man. Would never. And mind you, I'm getting off 3:30 in the morning. No buses is running. This is how me and my wife actually got close, come to think of it, because my wife would sit on the phone with me. Like, she wouldn't even get off the phone with me. She would sit on the phone with me because I'm going to walk all the way home. In the rain, I ain't been home in 11 years. I'm going to walk through this darkness. Right. So it was like, so she would sit on the phone with me. And then eventually, I gave Cleveland a try, and Cleveland became one of my best support systems. And I would just with work. And I told him, I was like, man, you will never let me pay you back, bro. I be trying to buy this dude lunch and leave 20s in his car. He was sticking 20s back in my locker and everything. So it's like, he was like, pay it forward. Right. Pay it forward. So I'm pretty sure just as much of a story as I have about what people's done for me, it's guys out there that share a story that I may have done for them. And I'm appreciative of that. And I always tell people, pay it forward. Pay it forward. Don't try to find me to do something good for me. Find somebody in a situation that resembles something you knew you were in. And let's help them out. Let's help them out. Especially if they have what I call societal haters. You know what I mean? Because out here, like, first thing, when people find out you a felon, everything becomes about, like, your record, your past. You got me living in the past. And that's one of the hardest things to deal with when you first come out of prison, because, like I told you, they didn't actually start the rehabilitation process of what I was going through to my last year and a half of being incarcerated. So people were asking me, like, when I had to take certain violence classes because I was considered a violent felon. I mean, I had to take certain violence classes and things of that nature. So they would ask me through those classes and seminars. He was like, "What makes you a violent person?" I'm like, "I'm not a violent person," and that's why I consider this year to be my sweet 16 because it's been 16 years since I've done anything illegal.
Praise the Lord.
It's been 16 years since I've done anything illegal. So now, mind you, going back to when I was in those classes, I'm in these classes, and these people are asking me questions about who I was 8 years ago. And now 8 years ago, I was 20 years old, man. I was a kid. I'm almost 30 at the time, and I'm telling you, like, hey, this is what I've been doing to help myself. This is what I've been doing to get myself out of a certain mind frame to open my world up to something new. And something I can actually be a part of that's going to bless me versus something that's going to choke the life out of me, right? And they sit you in these classes, and all while you're in the class, they keep asking you about who you used to be. Why do you do this? Why are you violent? What makes you violent? Well, I'm not violent. Ask me about what I've done since I've been here to work myself into a situation to where I can say that about myself. You know what I mean? And they don't want to hear it. They want you to. So I've literally sat through so many classes to where I have to just tell you what you want to hear versus my truth.
Wow, you got to tell them what they want to hear versus the truth. That's sad. You know what I'm saying? You have to live in the past like that. People will keep you there, you know, and people judge you by your past.
They judge you by
and sometimes they will not let that go. Even though, like you just said, those 8 years I've been building on to me, myself, my character, to where I want to change. If you're not asking me about that. You want to know about stuff I've done.
Exactly.
I'm done with that.
You're not asking me about the Periphery online magazine publishing my work in 2011 or anything like that. You're not asking me about the accomplishments I've made here in prison through everything that you have for me here. You haven't asked me how have I done the impossible in certain situations.
Wow.
You want to know about why I robbed somebody. Why was I a violent person? Well, if you have my record, then you know who my father was. If you have my record, you know who my mother was. You know what my upbringing was. You know what my time like in juvenile detention facilities was like. You know the status of my life. So instead of asking me why was I a violent person, how about you have some compassion about what I've been through that shaped me to be this? You know what I mean? Nobody's asking me about that. Nobody will ever ask you about how you were wronged. And I feel like the penal system is a touching thing to go through. Because if I do wrong, but you wrong me worse than I wrong anybody else, who wins in the process?
No one. Only thing they're winning is they're getting money to house these men and women.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And seemingly like they want this to be a revolving door.
Exactly.
But people like you say, I'm not going back to that. I'm pushing forward.
Exactly.
You spoke about mentoring the youth. You know, we spoke in the parking lot that day. And I can see that as something that you would be great at. You know, you have a story. You're doing positive things. You have a family. The pressure washing business that you have now is growing. You say you had some mistakes because you didn't have a mentor. Could you share a mistake that you said cost money, which we know when you make a mistake in business, it does cost you money. You know what I'm saying? Where you have to do it over again, or you may lose some monetary, some real money in exchange. What was one thing that you can remember, that mistake that you might have made with your pressure washing service?
Being cheap.
Too cheap.
Yeah, and I don't mean cheap in terms of the like my equipment or my expenses for the business, but needing the work so bad. Like when I first started the company, I just wanted it to be profitable. Like, I still got a truck note, I got insurance to cover, I got business accounts that I want to actually grow and look like they're what they are. So it's like one of the hardest things for me to do was just like be cheap, like pricing. It's like, cause like I want the money, but I don't want to scare away my customer. So like one of the hardest things I had to do is learn not to be the cheap guy. It's I know when I show up, I know in my heart I'm going to provide you with a premium service. I know I'm not going to leave until this house looks like what I feel like it should look like to represent my name and my brand. But most people don't know that when you show up. and you don't know if they know that or not.
Right.
So first thing you do is you keep dipping your price all the time because you want to work your way into the door, because at the end of the day, I'd rather make some money today than have nothing. So one of the hardest things I had to really do is in terms of that was be comfortable with my pricing. I spend a lot of time on my pricing. I call around every 2 days to check with my competition just to see what my competition is like in certain areas, because when I show up, I want to give you a price that, hey, even if you went and said, hey, no, not doing it. Like, if you want to meddle with any of my competitors, you're going to come back to me anyway. And then you're going to understand what I'm saying. So making sure that I was knowledgeable about certain stuff and being secure on the way I price my time is everything, because I can I tell Kel all the time, it's like I can literally wake up some morning, I can have a lazy morning, but because I work for myself and the business is made to take care of itself, I could wake up and have a semi-lazy morning, get out the bed an hour after my wife, go knock out a job. I still make it back home before my wife can take lunch. And I've made double what she's going to make today, tomorrow, and the day after. And she works in corporate America.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like I don't want to be the cheap guy, because I'm never going to show up and give you a cheap service. You know what I mean? I don't wear cheap shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
So therefore,
the feet hurt.
So exactly. So it makes no sense for me to come in here and lowball myself.
Man, brother, what you just said is so powerful, because I struggle with that too.
Yeah.
Just sold a job yesterday. I think the price is fair, but I think I could have charged. I know I could have got more than what I'm charging for it. Yeah. And sometimes it is just try to get your foot in the door. But you have to have the confidence to price yourself, because sometimes people know what you should be charging, and you come with a low price, and they'll take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Or they'll think you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
Because you that's too low. You know what I'm saying? When everyone else is $200-300 or sometimes $1,000 higher than the price you gave them.
I like to tell one of my ways of working around that, because I don't ever want to leave money on the table. My mentor told me, he was like, man, it's never a good thing to leave your money on the table. So like, meaning like it was room in that deal for you to still be fair and make a little bit more. Right? So I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but like I just want to stay to where, like, oh yeah, like when I tell people like my prices, I always encourage my customers, like, hey, go get a quote from somebody in your area. Go get a quote from somebody in your area and let me know what their price is like. And then me and you can come together and we can build a quote that represents what you know is fair and what I'm willing to work for consistently to maintain your business. Because I'm never looking for one client to work with for one day. If we do business together, I want you to figure out a reason to call me back whenever you need me again.
Exactly.
I want to take it off the table for you to have to ever negotiate when it comes to this particular service being done for you. And to me, I think that takes a lot of weight off of a person if you have a go-to guy for anything. Like if I have a go-to guy for my taxes, I'm going to call Matt. Yeah. And when I call Matt's going to do my taxes, and I know what he's going to cover. He's not going to raise this price. He's not going to dip below this. I know all these aspects are going to get taken care of, and I can just leave that to him, and I can stay comfortable with the price. That's how I like to set my pricing, because your house is not going to necessarily grow unless you add on some additions to it. Your house don't necessarily grow. So why should I continuously change and shift the price on you when you're just trying to maintain the maintenance of something that you own? This is an asset.
Man, and if people really understood that, they taking care of their home or whatever they hire you for, whether it's car or sidewalks, it's so many things, the pool deck, it's all about taking care of something that you paid so much money for. Yeah. And to have that type of service, you said it's kind of saturated here in Florida, but you found a way to navigate through all of that and carve out your customer base.
Definitely.
With pressure washing, like say for instance, somebody wanted to open a service like you. Do you need any special licensings or anything like that?
In Florida, no. And that's one of the best things about pressure washing. Is probably why it's so oversaturated. You actually don't need a license or anything like that to actually do it, or a certification to actually do it. But I'll tell you this much: you should want to know as much about the trade that you're moving into. You possibly can, because if this person has a $400,000 house, and
you come out there,
I mean, you at least want to give a person the satisfaction of knowing that you took your trade seriously. I take my money seriously, and I take my name seriously, and I take whatever anybody say about my money and my name seriously. So like those two things I can't let go at odds, you know. So when I show up, of course you don't need a license or anything to power wash, but you want to have some knowledge on what it is that you're doing. And then a lot of people don't mind you letting them know, like, hey, I've never done this type of service before, but I'll test it out. I'll see what it is, what I can do with it. If I run to a problem, I'll let you know. Transparency is one of the best things you can sell down here.
Oh, yeah, for
real.
real.
Like transparency. Oh, and other than that, insurance. Insure yourself. And separate, like I said, separate your personal from your business, because you want to be able to always identify what the business is doing on its own versus you. Because if you bootstrapping every single aspect of the business, you may actually be doing a lot more work for free than you actually think you are.
Right.
You know, so you want to get out of the habit of that and just making sure that your business can remain profitable and that your reputation stays intact. Because the market is saturated pertaining to power washing in Central Florida, but the market is not saturated when it comes to me. So it's only one me around here, man. Like I have customers I go do jobs for, and like a lot of them be older veterans, older guys, just cool guys. I mean, most of these guys served and protected, and you know, I mean, I appreciate their service. My wife, her father was a Army veteran, Purple Star. I mean, so it's like I draw to those type of guys, and sometimes I show up, do a job, sit around, kick it with a guy, 20, 30 minutes, and just that rapport that I have with an individual is going to be a reason why they call me again. Right. Because somebody else can show up to do the power washing, but Darnell's not going to show up if they come. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
And so I'm the first product ever. Like I'm the first product. Whatever you do, you selling yourself first. You selling yourself first. So I always make sure that I'm conveying a level of trustworthiness. You know, honesty. I always like anybody that knows me just about knows my story, because people Google companies all the time. My name comes up. It's nothing to Google that name. What's going to come up after that? But if I'm an open book about who I am, I mean, it makes people a lot less antsy, you know what I mean, to judge you on certain things when you're willing to own it. Right. And that's what I try to give to a lot of young guys that I deal with, accountability, man. Like, be accountable for what it is that you did, because once it's over and done, you've no longer attached to that mistake. You want all the accountability for your blessings too. Yeah. Like see nobody pays. See, accountability works in two different ways. Like my business is profitable, right? And I get the reward from that because I'm accountable for being a person that goes out here and then pushes my brand, right? So when the good things come your way, own them. You know what I mean? The same way when bad things come your way, own them, because it's a lesson in that mistake. Like, I did 11 years in the joint, but I don't know nobody else that wrote a book. Like, wow. I did 11 years in the joint. I don't know nobody else that's a published poet.
Speak on it.
These are things that came from my mistakes. My relationship with my uncle, oh my God. My Uncle Mark can call me right now. He can call me right now and be like, hey man, I'm going golfing next week. Can you get here? I'm going to get there.
You're going to get there.
I'm going to get there because he's a person that's from that past that always showed me that I can never lose. I can never lose with this individual. And I can never lose with being accountable for my mistakes or, you know what I mean, anything else. I hold that responsibility.
Damn, man. What you said earlier, I mean, everything you're saying is so powerful, but one thing about the brand, you said that, it may be oversaturated here in Florida, but Darnell is not showing up to that particular job. So that brand, your brand, resonates with people to where they want to call you again. I don't care if it's another big service company just like yours come around or whatever. I'm calling Jett Wash Services because I've done with Darnell. He's going to do it right. He's fair. He's transparent. I'm calling him again. You know what I'm saying? So that's powerful. And people, sometimes we don't understand that as business owners, how important our brand is. You know, like you have on your shirt, everywhere you go, you say, I used to wear these other labels.
If you see me anywhere, I 9 times out of 10 got a polo with my logo on. Because, like, I'm not going to wait excuse me, till it's time for me to get in the truck to turn on my brand. I mean, like, I'm always marketing. I'm always, when am I ever not in need of my company doing good business? Like, I could be coming out of Publix.
Yep.
And I'm still in the need of doing good business. I'm still in the need of trustworthy resources and friendships and acquaintances. I'm always growing. And that's one of the biggest things about getting out of the actual trade side and focusing more on the aspects of actually growing your company. Because I spend more time face-to-face with individuals, speaking about what it is I can do, articulating what it is I want to do, and that allows me to wiggle myself in the best place for me financially and as a mentor.
Wow.
You know, but you need that. I have a guy told me down here, because I work with a couple of different pressure washing groups down here, and I stopped one guy and got to know him pretty well. And the first thing he told me, he was like, "Man, you door knock for all your customers?" So yeah, how do you do it? He said, "Man, I use Facebook and ads and my Google, my Yelp page," and he gave me all these different tools. But I did 11 years in the joint, right? Like, I don't get down with social media and the computer as easily. I'd rather walk up on a man, show you my hand, shake your hand, look you in the face, you know what I mean, and work out something that way than sit in my office and think social media is going to bring me the money I want today.
Okay.
I mean, I've never got anything that I didn't set out to go get myself.
See, that's different. You boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's something you seen in the past.
Yeah.
You know, before the internet came out, you saw people going door to door
Yeah.
trying to make sales.
Yeah.
And it kind of resonates more. I can trust this person because I see him.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at my computer and I don't even know what Darnell looked like or Jett Wash Services, who owns this company. But you show up at my door, I'm more apt to listen to you, to even hire you to do something.
And it's harder to tell people no face to face. It's hard.
It's a business lesson right here.
Like, yeah, it's hard to tell people no face to face. If you get a person on the phone, a person will hang up on you.
Yeah.
I hung up on 2 telemarketers on the way here. like seriously, like, you get a person on the phone, they will hang up on you. And so that was one thing that's always been a blessing for me. Like, I'm not afraid of people. What can you tell me that I've already haven't heard in spades already? Like you can tell me no, but your neighbor can tell me yes, and this no is one door away from the yes. It's like some will, some won't. So what,
man?
So what?
Boy.
I'm a volume guy. I'm a volume guy, man.
You have to be. You have to be, man. Darnell, you've given a master class, right, from the past to where you are now. And it's so much that we could talk about, man. It's so much that we could go over. But as far as your business is concerned, Jett Wash Services, what is next for Jett Wash Services? What are some plans that you may have or some aspirations for the future? Government contracting, because I'm also working to seal in some government contracts at the moment. And I'm also working with a few different gentlemen from Lake County, because what I want to do is they have a beautiful program they're developing right now, and it's actually to steer guys from the penal system into free society, but with a skilled trade that's actually in demand. So I want to be able to eventually create a pipeline for a lot of young guys to come out, learn what it is that I do. That way I get a better workforce that's actually diligent about doing good work, and I get to teach some of the processes that you really need to stay free. See, like I'm not interested in creating employees. I don't want anybody coming out of the joint eager to be my employee. Right.
Bro. I want to create friendships and relationships with individuals that've been through what I've been through, and show them that, hey, sound-minded entrepreneurial goals are like they're right in front of you. All you got to do is take a little action on them, and I'm willing to show you the direction to go with those things. You know what I mean? Unlike when I first came home, who did I know that was running the business? Like, I can't. Like I had to dig deep. I didn't want to leave anybody out. You know what I mean? I didn't want to leave anybody out. But who did I have to show me, hey, this is how you start a business, and this is how you put these principles into action. See, everybody is dealing. See, most guys from the hood, we're all dealing with the same principles, man. If you go get fronted some dope, then that's bad. That's good debt. In the business world, that's considered good debt. And learning the importance of like sound-minded business practices and things of that nature, things the penal system will never teach you coming out. And like I said, I'm not interested in making employees. I want to set guys off in a direction of their own passion. Right. That way you can be a voice for yourself and a voice for other individuals that's like you.
Hey, man, that's important. That's important because when they do come home, male or female, sometimes they don't know what they're gonna do next. You know, and the next thing you know, they're back with the same crowd, like you said, they used to run with, you know, some friends, and it's a revolving door. But this program, you know, what you're planning for your business sounds like a winner, and I pray like this something that will happen, that will come to pass very soon, and definitely going to get you back on here when we talk about it. Definitely. You know, if not then, you know, sometime in the near future as well. It's just been a powerful conversation, brother, with you. I'm so happy that day you stopped me. I'm glad that I responded. You know,
I'm glad you did too, man.
I am so glad I did respond, and you motivated me to step out of the shell of when I see somebody, especially another black man, you know, speak. Ask him what's going on. Speak. You know what I mean?
Ask him what he got going on. And if I can have anything get took out of this is we are our support system. You have an invisible support system, man. It's black men around you. It's white men around you. It's Mexican men around you. All shapes and nationalities. It's people around you that's willing to help you. They're willing to help you. But if you can't articulate where you are in your journey, and you know, like you said, have that humility to come in, like, hey, I need this little bump. You know what I mean? Then you're never gonna have anything. I encourage young black men to meet other black men. Don't judge each other. Like, first thing you got a lot of guys do is we judge each other by what we see. No, practice loving on each other, man. Practice loving on each other, because a lot of times it takes somebody that been through what you've been through to get you on the other side of where you can have what you want.
Man, powerful. Man, thank you so much for joining us today on For the Record. I'm just telling you, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing as a man to sit and talk to another man that has so much knowledge. And I'm older than you, but you have so much knowledge, and so you inspire me to be better. You know, and I want to thank you for that.
I thank you. I thank you for accepting that.
Oh, of course, my brother, of course. And again, like I said, we're going to have you back on very soon, talk about those contracts, because I know it's going to come to pass, because the way you talk, you're so passionate about it, I know it's going to happen.
I have nothing now that I didn't speak into existence. Everything that I have, I spoke this, even down to the complexion of my wife. I said I was going to have everything I have in the same place. I said I was going to be in the South. I was going to own my business in the South. My children would never see the snow. And ask anybody that's ever had a conversation with me before I came home, I have everything that I want.
So you mentioned your wife. Shout out your wife and your children.
Shout out to my wife, Kelly Jett, and my son, Guantama True Law, and my youngest son, Will.
All right.
I love you all.
All right, there you have it, folks. Darnell Jett, Jett Wash Services. His information will be in the description below. Contact him. I mean, you see, he's infectious. I mean, his personality, his knowledge, it's all there. So reach out to this young man, because he's doing big things here in the Central Florida area. And I want to thank you for joining us on another episode of For the Record. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you find this information valuable, please leave us a thumbs up. Talk to you next time on For the Record.
Sharing knowledge, making moves, we a microphone. For the record, we got the facts. For the record, we run the tracks. We in the business, no time to play.
Thanks for
For the
watching,
record
bye.
podcast.